you know what? The focus of the market has really been high-octane battle for Phase 6 elections, which is going to be coming to an end. 58 seats will be going to poll in the penultimate phase across 6 states and 2 union territories. All eyes will be on Delhi, where all 7 seats are going to poll. Arvind Kejriwal's arrest will surely have a role to play this time around, I'm sure, on the sentiment. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Modi is addressing a slew of rallies in Punjab and Haryana, and so is Rahul Gandhi. He's going to be making the last-ditch effort to woo voters now. Fate of over 80% total seats is sealed. So what are the prospects of NDA looking like, and what can we expect in the last 2 phases? We have with us right now Rashid Kidwai, the visiting fellow at Observer Research Foundation, and we also have Yashwant Deshmukh, founder, editor, Sea Voter International, joining in on the show right now. Gentlemen, both of you, morning. Great to have you both on the show today. Rashid, let me start off with you. You know, with 80% of the voting almost done, it's looking more and more likely that NDA is getting the third term. Or you think there could be still a surprise element on June 4th?
Yes, thank you, Asha. I think the real element of surprise is still there to unfold itself on June 4th, because here was a political party and a sort of formation, Narendra Modi government, which was holding a pole position. Everyone predicted that they're going to win, but win by what margin? And increasingly, after 5 rounds of polling, we have a situation where there is a element of doubt have crept in whether Mr. Modi will be getting a majority on its own or not. And now, if that doesn't happen, then we will have a very interesting situation on June 4th. So while Mr. Modi continues to be a favorite in terms of forming a government, there is an element of doubt and uncertainty. The kind of mandate is he getting? Is he getting clear 272 vis-a-vis BJP, getting 272 seats, halfway mark, or less? If it is less, then it will lead to a very interesting situation.
Right. Yashwant, if I could get you in on the conversation. Morning, firstly. You think BJP can do better than their last tally of 303?
Because I'm privy to the exit poll numbers, probably it would be unethical for me to comment on those kind of predictive in that way. But what I can tell you is that I have looked very closely on the turnout figures. You know, that is where I can comment on. And I guess that everybody unnecessarily got panicked after the drop of the turnout in the phase 1. Because since then, we have seen not only the overall numbers going in the right direction, but the drop from the first phase to the third phase, it came down to less, almost 1 point over there. And in the fourth phase, it was actually higher than the previous one. So what I can tell you is that looking at the turnout figures, comparing it from the previous ones, and, trying to make sense of it, because I understand the panic when happened after the phase 1, Asha, it was largely because of the ghost of 2004 getting revisited, because at that point of time, there was a huge 18-point drop in the turnout in the urban centers, which used to be strongholds of the BJP. And that's where probably the fountainhead of panic in that way, if I can say so. But right now, within the turnout figures, I cannot see any differentiator of any sort in the urban, rural, tribal, non-tribal, Dalit, non-Dalit, male, female, north, south, BJP, non-BJP for that matter. Turnout even dropped in Kerala. So I don't really have any red flag. If that makes any sense to you, if that is good enough to you for you to understand that, whatever our trackers have been saying for really a long time, I don't see a red flag from the turnout that we should be overtly coming out of syllabus at this point of time.
Okay, so Mr. Deshmukh, let me tell you the red flag for the market, and this is what markets are saying. The red flag for the market is anything under 300 for BJP. Now you tell me whether there's a red flag or not for the market.
I chose my words very carefully, that I do not see from the turnout figures any red flag as such, simply because there is a very distinct trend. If you look into the turnouts very carefully, the turnouts are healthier in the states and in the seats where the competition or the contest is perceived a good one, a healthy competition, a good one, But the states and the seats where the contest was perceived lopsided in our trackers and in our all the pre-poll surveys, you will see a marked drop in the turnout over there, largely because those who are winning probably few points, they are not going just because they feel that overconfident that they are winning. And those who are losing, they are not going because they feel that it's probably no point in going out and vote. And both of them got an excuse of the heat wave. So going from that perspective, the turnout has dropped in the lopsided contest, which is pretty much on the expected line from our tracker and all the pre-poll surveys. But the turnout is intense and healthy in the states where the contest is really nice, very neck and neck. And within the state also, there are seats where the contest is nice, contest is good, and those seats have polled better than the state average. So from that perspective, I think the lopsided states are witnessing a drop in turnout. Nothing to worry on that because it was pretty much on expected lines. And good contest states are watching a good turnout, and we shall be looking at those states very closely. But again, they were on expected lines. West Bengal on expected line. I don't think anybody said. I always maintain that West Bengal is mother of the all battles, in these elections to watch out for. Maharashtra is a dampener. I understand a very tough contest, but made more difficult to predict due to the low turnout. But I cannot blame the voters in Maharashtra. It's a basket case because almost each and every voter belonging to each and every party has felt cheated, over the last few months. And that's where the dampener has come in the low turnout, because nobody is confident whichever party or candidate they are voting for in Karnataka, what their politics will be after the results are out.
Okay. Mr. Kidwai, let's just spend a minute trying to understand that the role regional parties could play. Now, whether it is Maharashtra, South, perhaps West Bengal, regional parties perhaps this time will have a role to play in terms of how the vote share would move. Do you think we are in for a surprise from regional parties? They are getting, nobody talks about it, but do you think that is the one difference between 2019 and 2024, Mr. Kidwai?
Absolutely, because I think this 2024 is about regional parties. It depends upon how regional parties perform, and if they really perform well, then we are in for some kind of surprise. Remember, there is the figure of 272 for India Alliance is very tricky, so it has a half of half concept. So if regional parties manage to get 150 seats out of Tamil Nadu and Bengal and Bihar and Uttar Pradesh and elsewhere, then the Congress would have a task to, get 100 or more seats. And that's how it's going to, play out on June 4th. So therefore, this election is about regional parties. And I think regional parties, from my experience as a political journalist, not as Mr. Deshmukh, who is a very renowned cephalogist, I see, some kind of change or surprise that would be there on June 4th, because there are many states where the BJP is not holding on. So there is going to be a loss of seats in Bihar, in Maharashtra, in Karnataka, perhaps in Bengal, in Haryana for certain, and states like Rajasthan, where BJP was seen as sitting very comfortably. So it all adds up to 50 plus gains for India Alliance. I think it will be very difficult for the BJP and NDA to compensate for in form of 1 or 2 odd seats in Odisha or in Bengal or elsewhere.
Final question from you, Yashwant. 2 more phases are left. Now that's still 20% left. Based on where we were in terms of opinions in March versus where we were in May, especially after 2 polls, do you think the narrative will continue to change in favor of the current ruling party? Because what was there first, after the first and the second phase, and versus what it is right now after the Maharashtra and the phase 5, the narrative seems to be drifting back with the current incumbent. Is that true? I think you're
also kind of they also got lost in the narrative battle, because generally they are known to be very meticulous planners. But the first phase drop in turnout probably also put them off guard, and they went a bit off the script in that way. But I think by the end of the second round, they realized that there was no need for them to panic as well. And since then, you can see that the campaign and the narrative is back on the delivery of the governance and the schemes that they have been doing, and for the third term and whatever they are planning for the third term in that way. So I guess that from the opposition perspective, as Rashid Bhai said, that they have been trying to of late trying to localize this election, rather than centralize this election. So localization is something which has put in the regional parties into the play, regional and local contest into the play, and this is a good and right decision that they have taken. But my issue with that decision is that this is a right but a late decision, because they spent the entire 5 years, going after Mr. Modi in person and making this a centralized election. Now, at the last moment, trying to centralize it, how much will that be useful? That remains to be seen. But full credit to the regional parties, because they are making it a contest. Problem is not opposition's problem is not the regional parties. They have been giving a very good contest to the BJP in 14 and 19. The opposition's problem is the performance of the Congress. In 2004, when BJP lost, the baseline of that election was 1999, when Mr. Vajpayee became the Prime Minister. When Mr. Vajpayee became the Prime Minister, at that point of time, BJP's national vote share was 24% and Congress was 4 points more than the BJP at 28%. But look at today's baseline. The baseline in 2024 is 2019 election, when BJP polled 37 and Congress polled 19. So from -4, BJP pulled up a 18-point lead. So it's like a 22% gap that BJP has pulled over the Congress. Now, does the Congress have, or is it showing that kind of a revival, signs of revival, that in the 200 seats where it is the BJP versus the Congress, that's where the meat is, and BJP has almost 95% strike rate in those 200 seats. Is the Congress showing signs of revival that they are overturning 22% of this lead in the last 2 months? That's the big question. If you can see and sense that those signs of revival, we have a contest in hand. If you are unable to see those signals, then it's the story as usual.
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much for taking time out. Always great gleaning your insights as to what could potentially be the outcome and what the swing is indicating. Let's move.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.